Hi, everybody. Now, this one is funny. So, I haven't watched this, so this is going to be cold. But it's called Canadian PM is playing with fire and taunting Trump by some kind of China expert. So, this is on Fox Business. Welcome to North America. I'm your host, Pierre Shields. Let's take a look.
To talk about this and the ramifications is Dr. Michael Pillsbury. He's the Heritage Foundation Senior Fellow for China Strategy and a Fox News contributor. Michael, the concern back on Liberation Day, when President Trump imposed tariffs on our closest allies, including Canada, was the unintended consequence of pushing our allies into the arms of our rivals. Is that chicken coming home to roost with this Canada-China deal?
Before he answers, what do you think Canada was going to do? What do you think Canada was going to do? We got tariffs imposed on us because of all the fentanyl we're sending to the U.S. Come on. America has become an unstable place to do business with the current White House in power, the current administration. This is not, I don't mean to sound anti-American because I'm really not anti-American. I'm anti the orange guy. Let's listen what this buffoon has to say.
Well, it's a possibility, but I think, Liz, what's really happening is the Canadian Prime Minister is playing with fire.
Oh, is he?
He's essentially taunting President Trump that I'm not going to help you with the new order you want. I'm going to make my own deal with China. And President Trump, I think, was quite a statesman about this. Trump quite quickly said, I don't oppose, it's a good, if he can get a good deal with China, fine, go ahead. I think this double meaning President Trump has there, Liz, is that China doesn't always implement or honor its trade agreements. So it's a bit naive of the Prime Minister.
What? Is he talking about China or the U.S.? Who doesn't respect their trade agreements? What is this? I thought we had a trade agreement and that was all exploded and now we're going to renegotiate and tariffs have come into place and stuff. It's the irony. It's amazing. I don't know how they can't hear themselves talk and not think what I'm saying sounds ridiculous.
Of Canada to try to make his own deal without coordination with the United States. He's probably just going to be taking.
Why can't we make our own deals without coordination with the United States? We're not aligning anything political or anything. It's a trade deal. It's a trade deal. And now that the U.S. has said, hey, we're cutting you off, we're putting tariffs on you, what are we going to do? Roll over? Let ourselves just fall apart? Come on. Let's be serious now.
Taken to the cleaners and embarrassed in front of the voters. That's my own forecast. He shouldn't be taunting President Trump this way. They should be dealing with China together. And he should be the Prime Minister of Canada.
I agree. Everybody in Canada agrees we should be doing this together. But who's threatened us with annexation? 51st state, Governor Trudeau. How could we do that together? We used to do it together, but then we got stabbed in the back. I don't understand. Can't you hear yourselves?
Canada should be helping his own interests. The 75% of Canada's exports, as you know very well, go to America. So we need to kind of rethink on the part of the Canadian Prime Minister, I think, before he finds himself punished severely by President Trump.
How about this? I think there needs to be a rethink by President Trump before he's punished severely by the American electorate, who are now looking at this imperialistic strategy. How are your egg prices doing? I feel bad for people who voted for him thinking he'd help them economically. He doesn't give a crap about the electors. It's all about the money. It's all about the power. Just follow that. This guy. Oh my God. You're out of touch, old fool.
Politics here. You're right. The Chinese do not adhere to promises that they make.
Neither do Americans.
100%. That is so obvious.
It is.
However, I think the word taunting, saying that Mark Carney is taunting the president, some would say, Michael, that it's his only way he sees out. He has tried to strike deals with the president, who keeps saying, oh, maybe we could buy Canada. I mean, that's, when you're sitting there and you're hosting a world leader in the Oval Office, as President Trump did Mark Carney, and making that, quote, joke, I mean, what is he supposed to do? And he's really come up against many walls when it comes to the United States. So therefore, some would argue he just went where he could turn. I mean, the Wall Street Journal has an op.
Some would argue. I think anybody who's been paying attention and who doesn't believe their own rhetoric would argue that.
Op-ed today in it. The headline is Trump's lesson in how to turn U.S. allies into China's friends. And basically, if you look at it, he says, I mean, the first comment is why Mr. Trump would want to head into midterm elections foisting higher prices on voters worried about affordability is a mystery. That's about the Greenland threats of tariffs. But then they say the sad irony is that China and Russia may be the biggest winners, though Mr. Trump justifies his Greenland necessity in the name of deterring both. Canada's Prime Minister bent the knee to Xi Jinping this past week, and Britain's Prime Minister...
Nope. Canada's Prime Minister did not bend the knee. We are not aligning with China. We are trading with China. If China decides to go to war with Taiwan really now, if China decides to do some stupid strategic moves, we are out very quickly. But Mark Carney is much more of a capitalist than a socialist communist. So he's thinking about how do we bolster our economy now that the Trump regime has decided to hurt us economically. Will cool heads prevail in this? I don't. Or is this like the Stephen Miller future?
Minister is heading there this month. The EU and South American countries have struck a big free trade pact. Again, perhaps they are being forced into this by President Trump's constantly shifting tariff threats.
Well, the tariff threats are designed to get people who head major countries to change their policies. It's not done as some kind of a tax bill or something that's done for pure economic reasons. And frankly, what President Trump would like is more cooperation from other powers, especially Canada, in dealing with tariff and trade issues.
But he got that with the United Kingdom. They just struck a deal that was to much fanfare, making a huge deal of that. And the UK Parliament was expected, I think, in the next couple of days to approve it. And now he threatens them with the rest of those European Union countries. Of course, the UK is not a member of the EU now, but with new tariffs of 10%.
Because you can't trust anything he says. He's got a track record. We don't forget yesterday. It's not because he repeats things that we believe him. We're not his sycophants. You know what's really funny is Trump was talking about, hey, why can't we sell any cars in the UK? Why can't we sell any cars in Japan? We want the tariffs to go down. Bring the tariffs down to zero for American cars in the UK or American cars in Japan. They don't want American cars. American cars weren't built for their roads, for their parking spots, for their gas prices. It doesn't make sense. It's not because of the tariffs that Europeans and Japanese aren't buying American cars. It's really not. In Canada, we were buying American cars because, we need big vehicles because of the winter and the snow but now Hyundai has stepped in, Kia has stepped in, you name it, BMW, Mercedes have always been here. These companies have stepped up and they're creating cars that are interesting for Canadians. And now that, all of the trucks are being pulled out of Ontario and the manufacturing is being done in the States, the cost of these vehicles is through the roof for Americans as well as Canadians. So even Americans don't want to buy American cars anymore because they're absolutely unaffordable. But apparently there's no inflation. Who are you going to believe? Your lying eyes or whoever this guy is?
To 25%, right? Because he has this new idea about Greenland.
I consider myself a friend of President Trump. I think I know his thinking very well. He's thought about tariffs as a political source of leverage since about 1987. He did it with Japan. He was quite focused on the role of tariffs as a political instrument. As I said before, not pure economics or some kind of a tax. Mm-hmm. So what is happening now is if you look more carefully than many have done at the Canadian Prime Minister's actual words, he gave a speech in Beijing. He gave a speech in Qatar. He's talking about the world order, that there's now instability. He's hinting pretty strongly that President Trump is upsetting the entire world order. And so he, the humble...
Well, the entire world is saying it too. The entire world is saying it. Even American manufacturing companies are saying it. Inside of that little MAGA world, they're all thrilled and happy because, brown people are getting thrown out of the country. But the American economy is being, excuse me, I was going to say the American economy is being destroyed. No, the oligarchs and billionaires and millionaires and the upper class, and that's it. They're doing fine. They're doing fine. They're going to be okay. But middle class is being absolutely demolished. Absolutely demolished.
Prime Minister of Canada has to do something about that. I think that's fundamentally wrong. If he wants to criticize Trump's approach to the New World Order, he should do it face to face with President Trump. This kind of public attack on his biggest ally in the export market is just unwise, and he may pay a price in the polls.
Well,
that's why we're trying to make it so that the U.S. is not our biggest export market, to be able to trade with the rest of the world, to make deals that people respect and don't just turn their backs on, to not use trade as a weapon, to not throw your weight around. There seems to be this might is right kind of Stephen Miller attitude right now. What's happening, in my humble opinion, is that goodwill is being destroyed. There's two things you want in a negotiation, right? There's two things you look at in a negotiation. How much do I want to win? How much do I want to save this relationship? And Trump is all about win, 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 win. Crush the others. So the relationships get destroyed, get hurt, get damaged. Not between people. Canadians and the American people have been friends since forever, will continue to be friends forever. But having a bully in power that is threatening us, when, in my humble opinion, we've been a pretty darn good neighbor. Blood pressure. Okay, let's watch a little bit more of this buffoon. Allegedly, in my opinion.
I'll tell you, it'll be interesting to see as things get more expensive if these tariffs do go into place. Mm-hmm. It's really something that we have to watch.
But by the way, the Chinese love to see us squabbling among our allies. I'm a frequent visitor to China.
But President Trump is the one squabbling, and yet he rolls out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin of Russia, and instead then starts threatening Greenland. I mean, you understand how this is perceived.
Mm-hmm. I think at the end of another year or two, we're going to see some real accomplishments by Trump, and people will look back and see, oh my God, he applied leverage very cleverly to get these agreements. We didn't see it at the time. What we saw is
Trump is a lame duck president now. Does he have enough political goodwill to go for another 2 years? 3 years? People are talking about the 25th Amendment already.
Rhetoric and who's getting along, and the Wall Street Journal, saying you're turning off your allies. Trump wants to get results. If you look at his career in New York, he was focused on results, the bottom line, how you get there.
Bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy, results. He's hated by everybody in New York because he would bail out on paying them. How do you bankrupt a casino? Is it literally possible? It's designed to suck money out of people. Essentially, a casino is you walk in and you throw your money at them. How do you bankrupt that? All right, I'm going to stop here. This has been Canadian PM is playing with fire and taunting Trump, according to this China buffoon, and allegedly, in my opinion, by Fox Business. Puppy, you're really farting. It's terrible. If you like this, please like, subscribe, comment, share, notify. I don't know anymore. Go play outside.